Francis, dear colleagues, before we resume our work on the agenda, I'd like to inform you of the outcomes of the fourth meeting of our Bureau. As announced yesterday, we will resume with a discussion on the state of conservation report of a group of monuments at Hampi, India, under item 7A. The following state parties will be given the floor in this order: Senegal, Tanzania, Togo, Albania, Kenya, Jamaica, Kazakhstan, Poland, Kuwait, Republic of Korea, and Grenada. And we will proceed to the discussion of the remaining state of conservation of World Heritage properties under item 7A and 7B, according to the timetable for the order of examination on the webpage of the 48th session of the World Heritage Committee. Thank you very much. Let me now give the floor to the State Party of Israel for just 1 minute, as is requested. Floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for the opportunity to reply. We would like to address the statement made yesterday by the distinguished delegate of Lebanon regarding the heritage site in the city of Tyre. On June 7, 2026, in response to Hezbollah rocket launches against Israel, IDF forces struck a Hezbollah asset related to military logistics located adjacent to the archaeological site. As with all planned attacks, sensitive sites flagged in IDF operational systems were taken into account, with the aim of minimizing damage to them to the greatest extent possible. We repeat and stand by our statement that any damage incurred to heritage sites in Tyre from this operation was incidental and unintended. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Nous demandons un droit de réponse également d'1 minute, si possible.
Okay, just 1 minute, please.
Vous nous donnez le droit de réponse, Monsieur le Président?
I already gave you.
Ok, merci.
1 minute.
Excusez-moi. Très bien. Donc, simplement pour rappeler aux distingués délégués d'Israël qui semblent ne pas avoir de très bonnes informations. Effectivement, en Israël, ils ont des drones, utilisent l'intelligence artificielle. Nous n'avons pas tout ça, mais nous allons sur le terrain. Et nous avons vu les dégâts qui ont été réalisés, qui ont été faits, et qui ont affecté les sites, et les dommages qui ont affecté le site, y compris à l'intérieur même du site, c'est-à-dire loin des borders, des limites du site. Et lorsqu'on a des dégâts qui ont dans des colonnes romaines qui sont au milieu du site, dans la grande allée, ça ne peut pas être des non-intention. Donc, nous, on a vu ça, tous ceux qui sont là ont été activés, ils ont vu les dégâts. Et ça a été reporté, ça a été envoyé à l'UNESCO. Merci.
Okay, thank you. Now we have to go back to Hampi. So, on my list, Tanzania, Togo, Armenia. I now give the floor Tanzania.
Thank you, Chairperson. The United Republic of Tanzania has carefully considered the proposed amendments to draft decision concerning the group of monuments at Hampi. The World Heritage Convention is founded on constructive dialogue, technical cooperation, and mutual confidence among committee, the advisory bodies, and state parties. While we all share the responsibility of safeguarding the outstanding universal value of the World Heritage properties, it is equally important that the committee's decision remain balanced, proportionate, and consistent with established World Heritage practices. In this regard, Tanzania notes that the proposed amendment neither challenge the factual findings contained in the draft decision nor weaken the committee's requirements concerning heritage impact assessments. The obligation of the state party to undertake and submit heritage impact assessment together with all relevant documentation before any irreversible decisions are taken remain fully preserved. Accordingly, we consider the proposed amendment to be justified. Replacing the term deplores with expresses concern does not diminish the committee's expectation or alter the state party's obligation. It simply adopts more measured language while preserving the substance and intent of the decision. Tanzania therefore supports the proposed amendment. Chairperson, we also wish to comment on the proposed reporting timelines. The documentation before the committee indicates that the reactive monitoring mission is expected to take place around September or October of this year. We further note that the state party has cooperated with the World Heritage Center and ICOMOS in identifying mutually convenient dates for the mission, and that the delay is attributable to scheduling constraints rather than any lack of cooperation. If the updated state of conservation report remains due by 1st February 2027 for consideration at the committee's 49th session, there will be insufficient time for the state party to meaningfully implement the mission's recommendation before committee examines the property's conservation status. For this reason, Tanzania believes it to be more appropriate for the updated state of conservation report to be considered at the committee's 50th session. This would enable the committee to assess the property's conservation status in light of both the reactive monitoring mission's findings and the progress achieved in implementing its recommendation, thereby facilitating a more informed and technically sound decision. Accordingly, Tanzania supports the proposed amendment put forward by Vietnam that this item be considered at the committee's 50th session. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you so much. Now, Togo, please.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Le Togo apporte son soutien aux amendements proposés par la délégation du Vietnam sur le projet de décision relative à l'ensemble monumental de Hampi. Ces amendements ne remettent nullement en cause la nécessité de préserver la valeur universelle exceptionnelle du bien ni les obligations qui incombent à l'État partie. Ils visent avant tout à améliorer la rédaction de la décision afin qu'elle soit claire, plus équilibrée et pleinement conforme à l'esprit de coopération qui guide les travaux de notre comité. En premier lieu, nous estimons qu'il est préférable d'utiliser une formation qui exprime la préoccupation du comité tout en préservant un dialogue constructif avec l'État partie. Une rédaction plus mesurée renforce la crédibilité de nos décisions et favorise leur mise en œuvre effective. En deuxième lieu, les amendements permettent de mieux distinguer le traitement de la situation spécifique concernant les constructions déjà réalisées de l'obligation générale de soumettre l'ensemble des futurs projets à une évaluation d'impact sur le patrimoine avant toute décision irréversible. Cette clarification améliore la cohérence de la décision et évite les répétitions. Nous relevons également que les amendements maintiennent sans ambiguïté l'exigence de réaliser une évaluation d'impact sur le patrimoine conformément aux orientations devant guider la mise en œuvre de la Convention, ainsi que l'obligation de transmettre ces études au Centre du patrimoine mondial avant toute décision susceptible d'avoir un impact sur le bien. Enfin, le léger ajustement du calendrier de remise du prochain rapport nous paraît raisonnable. Il permettra à l'État partie de présenter un rapport plus complet sur la mise en œuvre du plan directeur, des plans sectoriels et des autres recommandations formulées par le comité, ce qui facilitera un examen plus substantiel lors de notre prochaine session. Notre comité est à son meilleur lorsqu'il conjugue l'exigence en matière de conservation, rigueur juridique et esprit de coopération avec les États parties. Nous estimons que les amendements proposés par le Vietnam répondent à cet objectif et pour ces raisons, ma délégation soutient les amendements comme cela a été dit et invite les autres membres du comité à les adopter. Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président.
Merci beaucoup. Armenia, followed by Kenya, Jamaica. Armenia, you have the floor.
Mr. Chairman. Armenia thanks the State Party of India for the information provided on the conservation and management of the Hampi World Heritage Site, appreciates the progress reported, and at the same time recognizes that further information will be important to support the continued assessment of the proper state of conservation. Armenia has co-authored the amendments proposed by Vietnam to the draft decision. The proposed change does not alter any factual finding, does not remove any requests to the state party, and does not touch the substantive HIA obligations referred in paragraph 6. We consider that the amended wording would encourage a more constructive dialogue and cooperation between the state party, the World Heritage Center, and advisory bodies while maintaining the necessary conservation requirements and ensuring that future reporting continues to provide a sound basis for monitoring the property's conservation. We also welcome the efforts of the state party to schedule the reactive monitoring mission promptly, and as we're informed, it will happen in October. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Kenya, please.
Thank you, Chair. Kenya also wants to align to the draft amendment proposed by Vietnam regarding the issue of the delay in the reactive monitoring mission that did not happen. And we are open to the fact that there were issues that were beyond India towards that reactive monitoring mission, and which they are ready to host in October. And we also align ourselves to the feeling that the language that is used, the clause in paragraph 8, we think it's a bit harsh. So the word "or" should be deleted for constructive collaboration between the center, the advisory bodies, and the state party. Also, the timeline for reporting that has been requested by 2027 will not be practical in our opinion, so we would urge that the draft amendment as proposed by Vietnam be adopted. So thank you, Chair.
Now, Jamaica, followed by Kazakhstan and Poland. Jamaica, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Jamaica takes the floor to support the amendment proposed by Vietnam to draft decision 14-789 with regard to the state of conservation report on the group of monuments at Hampi, India. The State Party of India has consistently aimed to implement several actions that continue to positively impact the site's effective conservation, to include the implementation of the integrated management plan, updating the Hampi master plan, and abandonment of the contested road widening proposal. The State Party has also focused sustained coordination with the Secretariat and ICMOS to schedule the still pending reactive monitoring mission. Jamaica notes that this amendment makes every operative obligation on the State Party fully intact. The HIA requirement remains reaffirmed in paragraph 6, and a specific request under Hills development is retained in paragraph 5. The actual change is reflected in a change in language and removal of duplications. As such, Chair, we support the amended text as proposed again by Kenya. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Kazakhstan, please.
Thank you, Chair. The committee should attach particular importance to ensuring that the language of decisions remains balanced and calibrated to the stage of the state of conservation report process. We have studied the explanatory note and the correspondence record circulated by the state party, which shows sustained good faith efforts to schedule the reactive monitoring mission, which with delays attributable to the other factors, to the availability of the experts rather than any reluctance on the part of the state party. So in our view, the committee's strongest language should, whenever possible, follow rather than precede independent technical findings. So that's why Kazakhstan welcomes the draft and clarification, consolidating the HIA references in paragraph 5 and 6, which strengthens the clarity of the committee's request while removing unnecessary repetition. For these reasons, Kazakhstan co-authors and supports the amendment as proposed and encourages the committee to adopt it by consensus. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Now I invite Poland.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. After carefully reading all documents and understanding that findings of the reactive monitoring mission are essential for guiding necessary actions of the state party to improve this situation, and those actions should be properly reflected in further committee decisions, Poland supports changes proposed to the draft decision. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Kuwait, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson, for giving me the floor. We would like to thank the World Heritage Secretariat and the advisory body for the report presented on the group monuments at Hamri and for clarifying the conservation concerns in this regard. We also appreciate the cooperation of the State Party of India and their support for mentoring mission requested in response to the recorded concerns. Kuwait believes that our decision as a community carries significant weight for the state parties and for public perception of a property's conservation status. Therefore, Kuwait wishes to express its support for the amendment proposed by Vietnam to draft Decision 48-79 with regard to the state of conservation report of the group monuments at Hamri. We have noted in these explanatory notes, which demonstrate sustained coordination between State Party, World Heritage Center, and ICMOS on schedule for the mission, recognizing that delays were subject to scheduling. Kuwait also supports the technical clarification consolidating the heritage impact assessment referenced in paragraph 5 and 6, which improves the clarity of the decision without diminishing its substance. For these reasons, Kuwait supports and co-authors the amendment. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Korea, Grenada, Senegal, Peru, Lebanon. Now I give the floor to Republic of Korea.
Thank you, Chair. The Republic of Korea welcomes the State of India for its serious commitment to the conservation of the property, as demonstrated by the withdrawal of the proposed road widening scheme, the initiation of the master plan revision, and the invitation of the reactive monitoring mission immediately prior to this, the present session announced, and looks forward to this positive momentum being sustained. We encourage the state party to press ahead with the finalization of the long overdue master plan and its sectoral strategies, so that they may serve as a firm basis for future development decisions. But still, we still need more clarification about the submission of the report date. We've already listened to Vietnam's reasoning for the extension, but we need the Secretariat's opinion about this. I would like to raise two questions about this deadline. First one is, with the submission of the report by December 2027, is it possible the discussion of it at the 49th session? And the second question is, reactive missions reserve is an essential part of the report. I would like to listen to the Secretariat's opinion about that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, Grenada, please.
Thank you, Chairperson. Grenada has considered the draft amendment submitted by Vietnam on item 48-79. We consider that this amendment is introducing a more balanced language while preserving the substance, keeping the main important requirements and obligations, avoiding repetition, and proposing a new deadline. I would like to join the delegation of the Republic of Korea in the questions addressed to the Secretariat concerning the deadline. Grenada would like, therefore, to support this amendment. I think.
Thank you. Senegal, please.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Le Sénégal prend la parole pour appuyer la proposition d'amendement du Vietnam, projet de décision 4.7.9 concernant le rapport sur l'état de conservation du monument de Hampi en Inde. Il importe de noter que ce site est caractérisé par la rivière de Tungbadana, des collines escarpées et plaines couvertes, riches en vestiges qui témoignent de la sophistication des divers systèmes humains, royaux et sacrés. Le Sénégal défend depuis longtemps le dialogue constructif dans le cadre de la mise en œuvre de la Convention du patrimoine mondial, en particulier pour les biens d'une grande importance culturelle et spirituelle pour les communautés locales et les pèlerins, comme c'est le cas pour le site d'Hampi. Il est important de noter que le comité n'a pas encore eu connaissance des conclusions indépendantes de la mission du suivi réactif et les échanges de correspondance montrent que l'État parti a proposé des dates et a toujours coopéré avec les secrétariats et les commerces malgré les reports répétés. Dans ces conditions, la décision prise risque considérablement de porter atteinte au processus en cours. Cependant, nous reconnaissons l'importance d'appliquer rigoureusement les exigences relatives à l'évaluation d'impact sur le patrimoine. Néanmoins, constatons que l'amendement cadre parfaitement avec cette exigence au paragraphe 6. Le Sénégal appuie donc la formulation plus rapide et considère par conséquent cet amendement conforme à la fois au principe d'équité envers l'État parti et aux objectifs de fond du comité. Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président.
Now, panel, please.
Gracias, señor presidente. En relación con el grupo de monumentos de Hampi, el Perú expresa su apoyo a la enmienda presentada por Vietnam, en tanto consideramos que no cuestionan los hechos establecidos ni debilitan las obligaciones del Estado parte. Por el contrario, la propuesta contribuye a mejorar la redacción de la decisión, asegurando un lenguaje equilibrado y coherente con la práctica del comité, preservando así el carácter constructivo de dialogar sin alterar las solicitudes sustantivas. Asimismo, estimamos apropiada la solicitud de ajuste del calendario, lo que permitirá al Estado parte responder de manera más completa y fundamentada a las recomendaciones del comité. Por ello, apoyamos la enmienda propuesta. Muchas gracias.
I now give the floor to Lebanon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The delegation of Lebanon commends the State Party of India for its effort to preserve the World Heritage property of Group of Monuments at Hampi, after 40 years since its nomination in 1986, in particular for its progress in planification strategy and for welcoming soon a reactive monitoring mission. If we understand the increasing pressure of pilgrims and tourists, on the other hand, we do not comply with the submission of an HIA report after the completion of 2 buildings in the buffer zone, even if they are serving the specific needs of the pilgrims. The erection of any projects within the limits of a property and its buffer zone could impact the OUV and put the property at risk. The submittal of an HIA is clearly expressed in Article 118 bis and 172 of Operation Guidelines. Despite these remarks, we recommend the article, the paragraph 5 of this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. Vietnam, followed by Czechia. Yeah, Vietnam first.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Concerning the 2 questions raised by the delegation of the Republic of Korea, the Secretariat will provide further information, but I just want to clarify that during my intervention introducing the amendments yesterday, I already emphasized that it was a technical error. The last part, the last paragraph should read that the examination by the World Heritage Committee at its 50th session instead of the 49th session is just a technical error.
Okay, thank you for your clarification. And now I give the floor to Czechia. Czechia, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Our delegation fully recognizes the efforts undertaken by the State Party and supports continued dialogue and cooperation in the implementation of the committee's recommendations. At the same time, we believe that any amendments to the draft decision should preserve both the substance and consistency of the committee's previous decisions. From this reason, we would like to retain the wording of paragraph 6 and paragraph 8. At the same time, we understand the reservations regarding the use of stronger language in the draft decision and be open to a more moderate formulation, provided that the substance of the committee's concerns and its previous requests, particularly regarding the heritage impact assessments, remain fully preserved. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, before proceeding to the adoption of the relevant draft decision, I'd like to ask Mr. Guru and ICOMOS to answer questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning to all of you. With regards to the two questions raised by the respective delegation from the Republic of Korea, as to the first question, the mission report the mission has been planned for October this year, and it is expected to be ready by December. So that's the reason why we have requested in the draft decision that the soft report will be submitted in December so that it's ready for the next committee, which is not 50 but 49th session of the committee. With regards to the second question, just would like to note that the last mission to the property was in 2009. And the mission in 2020 was planned but was cancelled by the State Party. Therefore, we think it's really important that the mission take place as currently planned, and also to be able to assess the state of conservation of this property as soon as possible, because we also don't want to stop any construction, any planned, well-managed and well-planned property. So this is from the Secretariat. Probably ICOMOS might want to assure particularly the mission report.
ICOMOS, please.
Thank you, Chair. ICOMOS would like to recall that mission reports are requested by the committee to provide information for its deliberations. Its recommendations, especially in the case of a property as complex as Hampi, often contain systemic recommendations that may take some time to implement. It would be therefore important to provide this. The second point is that the early submission of the State Party report and that is for January 2026, according to the original text, would allow the committee to consider the recommendations, make its own recommendations at its 49th meeting, and thereby assist the State Party in its next steps on the state of conservation of the property. ICOMOS believes that this is important, specifically in the context of this complex property with a very high development pressure and currently a planning system which is not able to cope with those development pressures. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. I see no more questions and comments. I now invite you to adopt draft decision 48-7B-9 concerning this property. But before doing so, I'd like to ask the rapporteur if she has received any amendments.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, we have received several amendments to this draft decision, and they read as follows. At paragraph 5, the delegations from Vietnam, Armenia, Kazakhstan, United Republic of Tanzania, Jamaica, Kuwait, Togo, and Senegal recommend the following changes. Expresses concern regarding the construction of 2 buildings, namely the pilgrim accommodation and pilgrim-related facilities in the buffer zone in the vicinity of the Anjanatri foothill as being already complete before a heritage impact assessment was submitted, and requests the state party to provide an update on proposals for the Anjanatri Hills area, including the pilgrim village developments and the tourism developments incorporating the ropeway proposal and associated facilities. At para 6, Vietnam, Armenia, Kazakhstan, United Republic of Tanzania, Jamaica, Kuwait, Togo, and Senegal recommend the deletion of the first 6 sentences of paragraph 6 to read, reminds the state party that all development proposals, and the words should have been added as a recommendation from the rapporteur team just for grammatical flow, should be subject to heritage impact assessments, and that these HIAs and other relevant project documentation should be submitted to the World Heritage Center for review in conformity with paragraphs 118 BIS and 172 of the operational guidelines before any decision that would be difficult to reverse is made. At paragraph 8, finally requests the state party to submit to the World Heritage Center by the 1st of December 2027 an updated report on the state of conservation of the property and the implementation of the above for the examination of the World Heritage Committee at its 50th session as indicated by the delegation from Vietnam. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Madam Rapporteur. So, as is customary, let's look over para 1 through para 4 with the original language, with no proposed amendments. Can I consider that we are in agreement with para 1 through para 4 as adopted? I have no objection. So para 1, 2, 3, 4 are adopted. Para 5. Are there any comments, questions, and objections? I recognize Switzerland.
Merci, Monsieur le Président, de me passer la parole. Bonjour à toutes et à tous. Je prends la parole pour vous dire que la Suisse n'est pas satisfaite avec la proposition d'amendement telle qu'elle est formulée et souhaiterait revenir à la proposition initiale. Merci.
Check here, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We support the first part of Vietnam's proposal concerning the softening of the expression. We note with concern that the construction of 2 buildings in a buffer zone, mentioned in paragraph 5 of the draft decision, was already completed before a heritage impact assessment. Nevertheless, we support the replacement the verb deplore by different wording, for example, notes with concern or regrets. Regarding the following changes in paragraph 5 and 6, I'm not sure if to talk about it right now, but in our view, the distinction between these 2 paragraphs is important. The first addresses a specific situation, namely the completion of 2 buildings in buffer zones before the heritage impact assessment was submitted, while the second recalls the broader obligations of the state parties regarding all future development proposals. Combining these two issues risks weakening of the clarity of the committee's message and reducing the direct link between the identified concern and the corresponding procedural requirements. We also record that the committee has constantly requested heritage impact assessment for proposed development in Anjanadri Hills area and repeatedly emphasized, most recently through decision in 2023 and 2025, that such assessments should be submitted to the World Heritage Center and reviewed before any irreversible decisions are taken. For this reason, we consider it important to maintain the committee's original formulation, which clearly distinguishes between the concern regarding the developments that were completed before the submission of the HIA and the continuing requirement that all future projects will be subject to heritage impact assessment review before irreversible decisions are taken. Retaining the original text would ensure consistency with the committee previous decisions and provide a clear and coherent message regarding the application of paragraphs 118 and 172 of the operational guidelines. Therefore, we support the original wording of the paragraph 5 and 6 and encourage the committee to retain the draft decision as proposed. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any other comments? Para 5, the first part, just instead of deplore and replaced by a little dovish language, regrets. So up to just before and request, let's touch upon that first part. I now give the floor to Vietnam with new wording, regrets proposed by your colleague. Vietnam, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. When I heard the delegate of she proposed that we should add a note with concern or regret. Well, since we already have concern at the beginning, I think that we should keep the original language is more balanced. We don't need to add what regrets here, and we should also take into account the fact that the state party is very cooperative in this issue. So we should find a very balanced language to encourage the cooperation from the state party. So my proposal is to keep the original language. We already expressed concern is balanced already.
부산 최고 체감온도 33도 이상 폭염 지속, 사업장에서는 물, 냉방장치, 후식, 운행장구 지급, 일부 신고 등 5대 기본 수칙을 준수하여 주시기 바랍니다.
And the floor is open. The first part and the second part all together. Okay, Armenia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Apparently, our plaque is not very visible from the podium. We are already expressing a concern. Why do we need to add another word that is saying almost the same thing? Expresses concern is completely enough, and we agree with what Vietnam has said. While I have the floor about the last part of the original language, it is repeated afterwards in the paragraph 6, there is no need to keep it here. And the way it is proposed in the amendments, it has a better flow for the draft decision. So we are, of course, co-authors of these amendments, but we fully support it in any case, even if we were not. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Petra, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We concur with what has just been said by Armenia. This is the same language which is merged the two paragraphs into one. Any element was deleted. So I don't understand why the reason that we should separate into this has a much better flow. I just want to emphasize that any element was deleted.
Okay, I think if Czechia is ready to take a floor at this moment. Okay, Czechia.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We are okay with the weakening wording at the first part of this paragraph 5, so we can accept the expressed concerns. But with the second part, we already explain why we want to keep the original wording of these two paragraphs. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, almost the first part is agreed upon, and we focus on the second part. And Senegal, you wanna? Okay, Switzerland, followed by Senegal.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. C'est pour se prononcer sur la première partie. Ça a déjà été rappelé tout à l'heure, mais il me semble important encore de le mentionner ici. Lors de la précédente session du comité, le comité avait expressément demandé l'élaboration d'un HIA sur le projet des bâtiments d'accueil pour les pèlerins et d'autres infrastructures qui étaient en cours de construction. Et nous savons aujourd'hui, nous avons appris effectivement que les bâtiments ont été construits après que le HIA puisse être fait. Donc ça va à l'encontre de la décision prise par le comité de l'année dernière. Dans ce sens, le terme « déplore » ne me paraît pas particulièrement exagéré. Néanmoins, pour trouver un compromis et une issue à cette discussion, je peux comprendre aussi la position de l'État parti et nous pourrions accepter effectivement l'expression, enfin le terme « express concern, the construction of two buildings ». Merci.
Okay, thank you so much. And the Senegal, please.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président. Je souhaitais intervenir sur la première partie du paragraphe 5. Je pense que la délégation tchèque nous a déjà rejoints dans cette dynamique pour dire que, ayant déjà exprimé nos préoccupations, il n'était plus nécessaire de revenir pour exprimer encore les regrets. Ceci étant dit, je pense également que nous avons une deuxième partie qui a été rajoutée et qui soumet une demande à l'État parti également de soumettre des propositions. Donc je pense que c'est assez suffisant comme requête et nous pouvons continuer dans la même dynamique et attendre les résultats de la mission qui sera déployée sur place afin de pouvoir obtenir toutes les informations nécessaires pour apprécier. Merci.
Okay, thank you. Grenada, please.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to recall that Grenada has supported the original amendments submitted by Vietnam, but the name of Grenada is not on the. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Tanzania, please.
Thank you, Chair. I think the word expresses concern, as we had already contributed, is sufficient to encourage the state party to do the needful, but also to have a constructive dialogue with advisory bodies. So the wording that has been proposed by our colleague, the wording of regrets, goes contrary to the spirit of constructive engagement. So we would urge that expresses concern is sufficient for the meaning and logic of the paragraph.
I think first part is already agreed with expresses concern, and that's my understanding. And now we're going to focus on the last part, the second part, please. The floor is yours. Switzerland and Czechia, you need some more time? No, Czechia, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. I just want to ask a clarification, because if we are supposed to accept the amendment of the para 5 at the end, we miss some kind of time specification when the update on the proposals should be given, because in the original version there was before the final proof is given. So could either Secretariat or author of the amendment could provide us with this clarification? Thank you very much.
Okay, now it's time for Vietnam. Just need to make a comment or give an answer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The HIA should be submitted before the final approval. It's already in the guidelines, so we don't need to put it here. That's my understanding when we propose this amendment.
I'd like to ask Czechia to have a look at para 8. An updated report on the state of conservation of the property and the implementation of the above for examination by the World Heritage Committee at its 50th session. So, with the explanation given by Vietnam and in relation with the para 8 of implementation of the above, I'm wondering at Czechia and Switzerland. Okay, Switzerland, please.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Je dois dire que je suis un peu confus. On était sur le paragraphe 5 et on a sauté au 8. Mais j'aimerais revenir sur le paragraphe 5, justement. Et je crois que ça a été aussi clairement exprimé avant par la délégation tchèque. Il y a une volonté claire de la part du Vietnam, et que je salue, de simplifier le wording, notamment en évitant des doublons entre le paragraphe 5 et le paragraphe 6. On voit qu'une partie du paragraphe 6 a été déplacée, copiée-collée dans le paragraphe 5, ce avec quoi nous pouvons parfaitement vivre. La particularité par contre, c'est que ce faisant, il y a une information qui disparaît, qui est celle que le HIA doit être soumis avant, before final approval is given. Et il y a à mon sens deux éléments différents. Le paragraphe 5 original traite de projets spécifiques sur Anjanadri Hills, véritablement de projets particuliers et pour lesquels des HIA ont été demandés et doivent être mis avant que des décisions finales soient prises, alors que le paragraphe 6, lui, est un paragraphe d'ordre général rappelant notamment les articles 172 et l'obligation aux États parties de délivrer des HIA pour tout projet d'envergure qui pourrait porter atteinte à l'OUV. En ce sens, ce sont deux éléments distincts et qu'il conviendrait de maintenir ainsi. Je vous remercie.
As far as HIA is concerned, for Chairman, I'd like to ask Lebanon. I'd like to ask Lebanon to comment on Para 5 and the Para 6 regarding HIA.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We recommend, like Switzerland, to keep the original wording that remind that HIA should be submitted before final approval. This is a particular important information. And accordingly, the Para 6 should be revised. Thank you.
No other constructive compromise language or if there's no proposals, how about at the end of Para 5 as per or in conformity with the Para 172 of the operational guidelines? That incorporating the position of Switzerland and Czechia, the floor is open. Yours. Switzerland, you need some more time?
Merci, Monsieur le Président. En l'occurrence, le renvoi au paragraphe 172 correspondrait davantage au paragraphe 6. Si vous lisez le wording du paragraphe 6, si on peut le descendre, merci, qui est d'ailleurs mentionné d'ores et déjà à cet emplacement-là. Pour le paragraphe 5, ce serait plus précisément le paragraphe 118 bis qu'il faudrait mentionner.
Yeah, Switzerland, you are right. On is. So rapporteur just be replaced by one on 8 bis instead of 172. Switzerland, please.
Merci pour cette proposition. À la lecture de ce paragraphe avec cet ajout-ci, la Suisse pourrait s'accorder.
Ok, Vietnam.
Oui, ça nous convient.
So, Lebanon.
Thank you, Chair. We confirm this last changing.
Okay, I think we are in agreement with some proposed amendment for para 5. So French version also ready? If there's no objection for newly edited proposed language, can I consider the para 5 proposed amendment agreed? Okay, I see no objection. Para 5 with the new amendment, para 5 as amended, adopted. Para 6. Para 6, it's a kind of repetition already incorporated in contained in para 5. So I think we can adopt the Vietnam, please.
Mr. Chair, yes, all these elements are already included in the previous paragraph, so we should delete this.
Okay, so amended proposal for para 6. Can I consider that our committee is in agreement with the new proposal, new proposed amendment? I see no objection. Para 6 adopted as amended. Para 7 with the original language, I will declare as adopted. I see no objection. Para 7 adopted. Para 8. It's a 10 months reprieve. Okay, check here.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We heard from the Secretariat that the machine is coming, and we're looking forward that it happened as soon as possible, because we think that it provides valuable technical guidance for the state party, as well as for the committee's future consideration. Regarding the proposal concerning the submission of the State of Conservation report, we would like to retain the deadline proposed in the draft decision, so the committees may review the state of conservation of the property again next year. Therefore, we recommend maintaining the request for the submission of the state of conservation report by 1st of February 2026. The report should address the committee's decision adopted at this session and can be relatively brief, as the mission is expected to take place later this autumn. Its findings would not need to be reflected in the report, although the state party may take it into account in its subsequent work. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. And before giving the Switzerland, Armenia followed by Switzerland.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. As again we were informed that there will be a mission this autumn, the state party needs to have some time to prepare a report that will provide updates to us and will take into account the recommendations of the mission. I do not see the point of coming back to this next year and then dealing with the recommendations in the report the year after. Thank you.
Now, go Switzerland, please.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. À l'instar de la Tchéquie, nous souhaitons conserver la version originale du texte. Je crois qu'il est important ici de distinguer deux éléments particuliers, et cela a été rappelé notamment par le représentant d'ICOMOS. Il y a d'abord le rapport, le Monitoring Mission Report, et il y a ensuite le rapport d'État qui devrait être transmis. Ce sont deux choses distinctes qui visent évidemment tout un même but, mais évidemment qu'il ne serait pas demandé, ou qu'il n'est pas demandé à l'État partie de fournir l'entier des réponses que la mission de Reactive Monitoring aurait relevé, ou des points qu'ils auraient relevés. Il y a des processus qui sont courants, qui sont en cours. Il y a des décisions aussi, ou des demandes dans cette proposition de décision ici, qui figurent également et qui doivent être implémentées. Et le but de ce rapport, en fait, au 1er février 2027, est précisément de faire un état des lieux de l'avancement de ces décisions, de ces points-là. Donc il est clairement important, j'ai compris le représentant de l'Arménie tout à l'heure, mais il est clairement important de distinguer ces deux éléments et avoir la mission que nous saluons d'ailleurs pour la fin de cette année n'empêche absolument pas d'avoir le rapport au 1er février 2027 de la part de l'État partie. Je vous remercie.
Okay, thank you. I think now it's time for proposal to convince or explain why the proposal needs about 10 months period for updated reports and urgent deliberation to 50th session. So I now give the floor to Vietnam.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We understand that there are two kind of reports, but first, concerning the report of the reactive monitoring mission, the mission is planned in October, as the representative of the World Heritage Center said yesterday. In October, for the first days, we received the state party received the report in December. And now we are requesting the updated reports in February. And in our practice, sometimes we haven't received the report 2 months after the mission, maybe later, and we need to have time to exchange on the reports as well. And also we need time to implement the recommendations of the reports. So asking the state party to submit an updated report in February is too soon. They don't have enough time to implement any recommendation of the report of the reactive monitoring mission. For the second report that was mentioned by the delegation of the Switzerland, now viewing the workload of the center and the advisory bodies, and also view of the urgency of the matter. We don't see any urgency that we if we don't examine the report next year, there will be like irreversible impacts. So we think that we should wait until the 50th session to consider, especially to examine the implementation of the recommendations of the reactivity monitoring mission.
Okay, we have to narrow slight gap of reporting period and examination. So we need 3 or 4 committee members for the extension until December and deliberation at the 50th session, because there are Czechia and Switzerland want to keep original deadline. So I now give the floor to Bangladesh.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The explanation and rationale given by Vietnam for the position, Bangladesh is fully convinced, and would like to support the other member states who have aligned themselves with the position of Vietnam, Armenia, Kazakhstan, United Republic of Tanzania, Jamaica, Kuwait, Togo. The explanation is, and also Senegal. So we are convinced, and we also request like to adoption of the proposal given by all these countries. Thank you, Excellency.
Thank you. Some other committee members, Pero, please.
Gracias, señor presidente. Nosotros consideramos que es oportuna la posición de Vietnam respecto a que el Estado parte requiere el tiempo necesario para que se puedan evaluar y tomar las medidas que vengan en las recomendaciones del informe reactivo. Entonces, en tal sentido, consideramos que esto debe ser desarrollado en la sesión 50 del comité. Gracias.
Okay, almost 10 committee members supported extension of updated reports and adjournment to 50th session. So at this stage, Kenya, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We want to express our support to the amendment.
Thank you very much. And Czechia, Switzerland, can you go along with the extended period? I now give the floor to Switzerland, please.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président. Je crois qu'il est important qu'on prenne en considération quand même les importants développements qui sont en cours sur le site, et ce ne serait pas rendre service à l'État partie, à notre opinion, de reporter d'une année et demie, enfin de reporter de février à décembre le rapport de l'État partie sur l'état de conservation, puisque ça nécessiterait ensuite, il ferait ensuite que ce comité serait informé de ces développements dans 2 ans à partir d'aujourd'hui et non pas dans une année. Étant donné les récents développements que nous avons pu suivre au cours des dernières années à cet emplacement, il nous paraît important d'avoir un suivi relativement attentif de ce qui peut être amené et développé à cet emplacement-là. Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, given that now 11 committee members, more than absolute majority of the committee members supported December 2027 and the 50th session. So how about some concern and the position expressed by Switzerland and Czechia will be reflected in the summary records, and I like to, if you permit me, I will consider your position is not a strong objection, but rather reservation or deep concern. So with that, can we be in agreement with the adoption of Para 8 as amended? Switzerland, please.
Nous ne sommes toujours pas tout à fait d'accord avec l'amendement tel que proposé. Nous aurions une proposition à formuler. Si vous me permettez, dans 30 secondes, je peux revenir avec la formulation exacte. L'idée serait que nous puissions, à minima, nous, comité, être informés par le Centre du patrimoine mondial lors de la prochaine session, donc la 49e session, des résultats de la mission qui aura lieu cette année. Je reviens vers vous avec une formulation précise. Je vous remercie.
In order for us to build a consensus, unanimity, I'd like to ask Switzerland first, and I will give the floor to Vietnam later.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Comme annoncé, je reviens avec une proposition. Nous souhaiterions ajouter... Alors, attends, il faut que je trouve l'endroit. Après, je vous donne déjà l'amendement. Request the World Heritage Center to provide an update of the results of the mission to the 49th session. Avec cette formulation, nous pourrions conserver ainsi le délai pour le rapport sur l'état de conservation au 1er décembre 2027, mais permettre à ce comité d'être informé lors de la prochaine session, la 49e en 2027. Je vous remercie. Et il faudrait le mettre, s'il vous plaît, en dessus, après décembre 2027. Non, attendez, juste avant. Excusez-moi, tout au... Voilà, finally request, tout au début. Finally request, voilà, merci. And the state party to submit. Je vous remercie.
Okay, Secretariat can technically incorporate that discussion of updated report under general item 7. So I now give the floor for the explanation on the part of Secretariat.
Thank you, Chairperson. This is just to confirm that this is possible to incorporate so that you can be informed on the main results of the mission. And as you remember, we have the general item 7, and where we have a chapter on development pressures. And I think this can be incorporated there so that the committee is informed on the mission. Thank you.
Okay, now Vietnam, please.
I take the explanation from the Secretariat. I propose that we should query saying that for information only, for information, the committees. Otherwise, there will be no change. For information.
So, Switzerland?
And excuse me, for the word an update, do we need the word an update of the results? There's only one result. So maybe we should delete the word an update of.
Switzerland and followed by Poland, Switzerland.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président, et je remercie la déléguée du Vietnam pour cette proposition. Effectivement, un update est totalement superflu, nous pouvons l'enlever. Nous sommes d'accord avec l'ajout aussi for information. Merci.
Okay, thank you, Poland.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Poland would like to support the amendment made by Switzerland and Vietnam. Thank you.
Okay, we are almost at the consensus text, Pera. Oh. Sénégal, please.
Merci beaucoup, Président. Je souhaiterais rajouter le nom du Sénégal sur le compromis qui se dessine sur ce paragraphe. Merci.
Okay, for the sake of clarification, the last para, may I ask the rapporteur to read out the final version?
For paragraph 8, finally requests the World Heritage Center to provide the results of the mission to the 49th session for information and the state party to submit to the World Heritage Center by the 1st of December 2027 an updated report on the state of conservation of the property and the implementation of the above for the examination by the World Heritage Committee at its 50th session.
Okay, thank you so much. Are you in agreement with the proposed amendment on para A? I see no objection. I declare para A of the draft decision adopted as amended. I now...
Chair, before you move on, please, may we return to paragraph 6? I would just like to ask the committee to look on the screen and confirm for me whether what is on the screen is exactly what was intended. Yes? All right.
Yeah, so just technical, so Vietnam delete, we delete that part. Vietnam, delete.
So to clarify, Chair, we are removing the words delete, Vietnam, delete.
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can I ask just my colleagues to remove Vietnam delete, please? Because it gives the impression that if Vietnam has requested that the paragraph be deleted, but to the contrary, Vietnam has confirmed the paragraph. Thank you.
Vietnam? Yeah, I think so. It's a Vietnam delete, we delete. All right? Okay. Now we are cleared. I now declare draft decision 48-7B.9 adopted as amended as a whole. I now invite Mr. Elendo Asumo to read the list of cultural heritage properties of the Asia-Pacific region for which the draft decision can be adopted without discussion. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. The following properties of the Asia-Pacific region for which the draft decisions are proposed to be adopted without discussion are historic city of Ahmedabad, India, Kakatiya Rujoshwara Ramappa Temple, Telangana, India, Hekmatani, Islamic Republic of Iran, Busuku sites and related properties of the Kingdom of Ryukyu, Japan, Sado Island gold mines, Japan, Mausoleum of Hoja Ahmed Yezawi, Kazakhstan, town of Luang Prabang, Lao People's Democratic Republic, Bagan, Myanmar, Kathmandu Valley, Nepal, Lumbini, the birthplace of the Lord Buddha, Nepal, archaeological ruins at Mohenjo-Daro, Pakistan, historical monuments at Makli Tata, Pakistan, old town of Gel and its fortifications, Sri Lanka, Ichkan Kala, Uzbekistan, Chief Roy Matas Domain, Vanuatu, and central sector of the Imperial Citadel of Thang Long, Hanoi, Vietnam. Thank you very much.
If there's no objection from the committee on these state of conservation reports, I declare the decisions just read out adopted. Adopted. Now I'd like to ask whether any observer delegation would like to express themselves about one of the properties for which we have adopted the decisions without discussion. We recognize only Pakistan, so I now give the floor to Pakistan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Pakistan welcomes committee decision concerning the archaeological ruins at Mohenjo-Daro and historical monuments at Makli Tata. We appreciate the CAMOS and the World Heritage Center for their continued technical advice in the process. As a home to some of the most ancient civilization historic sites, Pakistan attaches a great importance to 1972 Convention and appreciates the valuable work of the World Heritage Center, statutory bodies, especially ECOMOS and Secretariat in protecting the common heritage of humankind. Pakistan's heritage sites suffered severe damage in the catastrophic 2022 monsoon floods, and since then, Pakistan has worked steadily with the support of international community to move from emergency response to systematic long-term conservation planning. At Mohenjo-daro, short-term conservation and stabilization works have been continued across the site's most vulnerable areas, and conditional risk assessments have been completed. We appreciate the government of Japan for its support to the conservation and stabilization works across the site's most vulnerable areas. At Magri, conservation of Sheikh Leo is well advanced, and an international expert continues to serve our steering committee alongside continued digital monitoring of structural conditions. We took the note of outstanding matters of identified in both decisions and confirm our commitment to address them ahead of our next reports. We remain firmly committed to protection, conservation, sustainable management of our properties listed on World List. Our biggest challenge in this context is to protect these sites from climate shocks. We are working with the World Heritage Center, ICOMOS, UNESCO, country office, and our development partners in conservation, restoration, and preservation of these sites. Pakistan remains fully committed to working in this close cooperation with the World Heritage Center and advisory bodies, UNESCO office, Islamabad, to close out the remaining recommendations. We will submit updated reports on both property requests. We thank the committee for its continuous attention, support to the safeguarding of these two exceptional sites, which bear testimony to some of the earliest chapters of human civilizations in South Asia. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you so much. I see no more request for floor, so we will move. So we will continue with the 7A Nature Africa. As it was said in the Bureau meeting this morning, the request for opening of the state of conservation of Lake Turkana National Parks has been withdrawn. Therefore, I now invite Mr. Elendo Asomo to read the list of natural heritage properties of the Africa region for which the draft decisions can be adopted without discussion. Mr. Elendo Asomo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. The following properties of the Africa region for which the draft decisions are proposed to be adopted without discussion, are Manovo-Gunda Flores National Park, Central African Republic, Mount Nimba Strict Nature Reserve, Cote d'Ivoire and Guinea, General Decision on the World Heritage Properties in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Garamba National Park, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Kauzi-Biega National Park, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Okapi Wildlife Reserve, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Virunga National Park, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Lake Turkana National Park, Kenya, Air and Tenere Natural Reserves, Niger, Selous Game Reserve, United Republic of Tanzania. Thank you very much.
If there's no objection from the committee on this state of conservation report, I declare the decisions read out adopted. Now, Now, I'd like to ask whether any observer delegation would like to express themselves about one of the properties for which we have just adopted the decisions without discussion. We see none. We see none. So we will continue with 7B, Culture, Europe, and North America. I now invite Ms. Berta de San Cristobal, Chief of the Europe and North America Unit of the World Heritage Center, and ICOMOS to present the report on the state of conservation of the ancient city of Tauric, Khersoneset, and Iskora, Ukraine, which is open for discussion. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. The ancient city of Tauric, Khersones, and Iskora, located in Crimea, Ukraine, was inscribed on the World Heritage List in 2013. Since 2014, following the annexation of Crimea by the Russian Federation, the State Party of Ukraine has not had access to the property and is therefore unable to ensure its protection, conservation, and effective management in accordance with the operational guidance, which require adequate and functioning management systems and legal protection. This situation constitutes a potential danger for the property under paragraph 179 of the operational guidelines. In its most recent decision on the property, decision 40-7B.62, adopted in 2016, the World Heritage Committee urged all parties associated with the state of conservation of the property to refrain from any action that could irreversibly damage to the property and to fulfill their obligations under international law by taking all possible measures to protect it. The committee also invited the World Heritage Center to use remote sensing techniques to gather information on the state of conservation of the property. The satellite monitoring initiative undertaken by UNESCO in response to that decision, in cooperation with UNITAR UNOSAT, has been the main source of information for the World Heritage Center and the advisory bodies on the property state of conservation in recent years. The licenses governing the satellite images obtained do not permit its publication or display. Satellite imagery obtained through this initiative indicates that archaeological activity has continued within and around the ancient city of Tauric Khersones component, the polis, since 2014, and that a number of new structures, including large-scale constructions, have been erected within both the property and its buffer zone. These are described in detail in the State of Conservation report. Of particular concern is the construction of a large museum complex within the buffer zone immediately adjacent to the boundaries of the polis, completed by 2025. This development has preceded and accompanied by extensive archaeological excavations in the area, visible in satellite imagery between 2020 and 2023. Moreover, the 2024 report of the UNESCO Director General to the Executive Board, prepared pursuant to the organization's monitoring mandate concerning the situation in the Autonomous Republic of Crimea and the city of Sevastopol, Ukraine, noted that more than 12 million archaeological objects had been excavated from the World Heritage Property ancient city of Tauric, Khersones, and Iskora, and that cultural objects had been transferred to institutions in the Russian Federation without the authorization of the competent authorities in Ukraine. On the basis of their joint analysis of satellite imagery, the World Heritage Center and the advisory body have determined that the threat arising from extensive archaeological excavation within the archaeological remains of the polis and from new construction activities undertaken without the authorization of the competent Ukrainian authorities have resulted in a significant loss of authenticity and integrity and constitute an certain danger to the property. In conclusion, and in accordance with Article 11.4 of the World Heritage Convention and the paragraph 177 to 179 of the operational guidelines, the World Heritage Center and the advisory bodies consider that the property meets the condition for inscription on the list of World Heritage Endangered. I'll hand over to my ICOMOS colleague.
Now, ICOMOS.
Thank you, Chair. The archaeological remains of the ancient city of Tauric Khersones and its Kora showcase a city founded by Doric Greeks in the 5th century BC on the northern Black Sea shores. This extensive property comprises 6 component sites, each containing urban remains and agricultural lands divided into hundreds of equal-sized rectangular plots, and these plots are known as kora. The property includes remnants of Stone and Bronze Age settlements, Greek and Roman public buildings, residential neighborhoods, early Christian monuments, as well as Roman and medieval tower fortifications and water supply systems, along with exceptionally well-preserved vineyard planting and dividing walls of the kora. The property provides an exceptional physical testament to the interactions between the Greek, Roman, and Byzantine empires and the populations north of the Black Sea. As noted by the Secretariat, satellite imagery indicates that excavations have continued within and around the ancient city of Doric Chersonesus component, and this is the polis, since 2014. These images also indicate that new structures have been constructed in the ancient city centre. The construction of an open-air theatre over underlying archaeological remains within the polis, although subsequently removed, presents a serious risk of damage to subsurface cultural layers. The large-scale development undertaken in the buffer zone around the polis has significantly altered its landscape setting. The construction of several museum buildings and visitor facilities in the buffer zone has disturbed areas with archaeological potential and may have adversely impacted archaeological deposits. These activities, implemented within both the property and its immediate setting, along with development of apartment buildings and other infrastructure in its wider setting, have all negatively affected both the integrity and authenticity of the property. The reported removal of more than 12 million archaeological objects excavated from the property and transferred elsewhere seriously impairs its integrity and further diminishes its authenticity. The documented large-scale excavations and developments within the property, its buffer zone and wider setting, particularly in the absence of adequate reporting, impact assessment, scientific oversight, and effective conservation controls constitute a serious and specific danger to the property's outstanding universal value. ICOMOS therefore considers that the threats to the OUV of the property amount to both a potential and an ascertained danger within the meaning of paragraph 179 of the operational guidelines. Accordingly, the property warrants inscription on the list of World Heritage in danger under paragraphs 177 to 179 of the operational guidelines. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And the floor is open. I give the floor to Poland.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, beyond the city of Doric Chersonesus and its kora, the UNESCO World Heritage Site inscribed in 2013 is currently facing critical threats to its authentic value due to the ongoing illegal occupation of the Crimea Peninsula by the Russian Federation. Property is reportedly suffering from a significant loss of authenticity and integrity as a result of unauthorized, illegal, and let me stress, deliberate activities conducted by the Russian Federation outside the control of the Ukrainian authorities. Key issues identified through satellite monitoring include large-scale construction of a historical, quote, historical and archaeological park, unquote, branded New Chersonesus by the Russian Federation in the buffer zone that has destroyed archaeological deposits up to 10 meters deep and altered the site's landscape setting. Second, unauthorized extensive excavations have been recorded within the police, including the reported removal of over 12 million archaeological objects in 2024 alone. Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for listening to my statement. which were transferred to the Russian Federation without Ukrainian consent. Fact, insensitive developments, the construction of an open-air theatre over ancient remains, and the installation of various temporary structures that have caused further disturbances to the soil layers. Mr. Chair, the legal actions by the Russian Federations are purposely aimed at undermining of the outstanding universal value of the site. I regret that the Russian Federation, the state party of the convention, continues violating its obligation under this convention by conducting actions aimed at destroying the shared humanity, the shared culture of humanity, which is the site of ancient city of Tauric Chersonese and its core. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And in view of the above, we support the decision to inscribe the site on the list of World Heritage in danger. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ambassador. I now give the floor to Czechia.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Czechia would like to highlight one aspect of the draft decision that we consider particularly important: the continuation of independent monitoring activities. In this regard, we recall that the committee has consistently emphasized the need to monitor the wider flora landscape of the property. In its decision in 2016, it reiterates its earlier recommendation to survey the wider landscape through non-destructive remote sensing technique and satellite imagery. Today, this tool provides one of the few objective resources of information on the state of conservation of the property, and illustrates that the scale and seriousness of the threats unauthorized construction, extensive archaeological excavation, transformation of protected landscape, and reported removal of the cultural material. For this reason, we believe that inscription on the list of
세계유산위원회 결정하는 순간부터 오전은 하라 A까지 결정했습니다. 감사합니다.
And strengthen the framework for future corrective measures once circumstances permit. We therefore support the draft decision and sincerely hope that this inscription will contribute to the protection of the property itself, prevent further irreversible damage, and help preserve the Tauric Chersonese and its flora. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you very much. I recognize Switzerland. You have the floor.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. La Suisse apporte son soutien plein et entier à l'inscription d'un site antique de la Chersonèse, taurique et sa flora sur la liste du patrimoine mondial en péril. Depuis l'annexion illégale de la Crimée par la Fédération de Russie, le bien fait face à un péril résultant de fouilles archéologiques et de constructions de grande envergure, lesquelles sont susceptibles d'entraîner une perte importante d'authenticité et d'intégrité. En outre, l'absence d'accès effectif de l'État parti au site de